Fairless Stampin friends, Happy New Year! I'm Pat Fairless from Fairless Stampin Flair, and it's a long time no see, right? Um, for those of you who've been following me for the last few years, you probably may remember that back in July I said I was going to be taking a bit of a break from making videos. StreamYard, my streaming software that I've been using, the price doubled, and it was just crazy. So I'm like, I need to find something else. So I said I was going to take 1 to 2 months to find an alternative way to make videos or find another streaming software. And honestly, I never got back to it. I did try, I did look, I did research. But in the meantime, I also bought a new computer, and this longtime PC girl, loved my PC, decided to switch to a Mac. The transition wasn't quite as easy as I thought it would be. I've had an iPhone for years, and it works easy, it's simple, but man, a MacBook works very differently than a PC in some critical ways. There are things that were important to me. It just doesn't think the same. Anyway, I'm getting there. Okay, so I've been using this thing for a month or two, about a month religiously. Tried it a little bit earlier than that and gave up and put it in the cupboard for a couple months, maybe. I don't know. I couldn't deal with it. So anyway, I am back. And I guess I stalled and waited long enough because Cyber Monday, StreamYard had a deal that was too good to pass up. So I just resubscribed to StreamYard. So I'm using StreamYard, at least for the next year. And we'll reassess them. But anyway, so why am I here today? You're probably wondering what she's babbling on about. And I do have some notes written down. So if you see me looking down, because I don't want to forget, I got some important things to tell you, and I don't want to forget anything. For those of you who subscribe to my newsletter, I did mention in my newsletter, I think it's been about 2 weeks ago, that I usually use December to kind of look at how the past year has gone. I don't hold my stamp camp in December, so I have a little extra time to assess and then plan for 2026. So I've been looking back on what I've been doing this past year and what some things that I've decided I want to change. So I promised in that newsletter that I would give you an update the first of the year. So here we are. It is January 1st, 2026. And I can't believe it's already a new year, but it is. So I'm here as promised with plans for 26 and what's going to change and what's going to stay the same. I decided I have 2 basic goals for 2026. One is I want to reduce the amount of time I spend each week on this job. It's been taking more time than I hoped, and I want to find time to do some other things. So that's one of my goals, is to reduce the amount of time I spend. And the other one, which is something I've thought about before, but not really took it to heart, I want to try to appeal to maybe a broader audience. I think some of you who follow me realize that most of the projects I make are more geared towards avid stampers. They're not necessarily, a lot of them aren't meant for beginners, and would probably scare a lot of beginners off. So I want to try to address that. So first of all, what is not changing? I am going to continue my Saturday week in review reels. Those people like them. So I'm going to continue doing those, and this whole Mac is supposed to be easier at making videos and reels. So I'm learning. So far, it's not been easier, but I'm learning, and I'll get there. I am going to continue on my blog posts, and everything that I do for the week is to feature these certain products. It might be a stamp set, it might be a bundle, it might be a suite. And I'm going to return to doing a weekly video. So we're going to share, it's basically going to be a how-to video. And my bi-weekly newsletters will also continue. And if you're not a subscriber to my newsletter, I'd love to have you subscribe. Whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, there are links in both places where you can go to subscribe to my newsletter, or go to my Fairless-Stampin-Flair.com blog. And there's a link there as well to subscribe to my newsletter. I don't bombard you with a lot of email. I don't like to be bombarded with a lot of email. It's a bi-weekly newsletter, so every other week. If there's something important, some sort of promotion you just can't miss, or I don't want you to miss, you might get something in between, but it's unusual that you would get something more than every other week. You will also get the invitation to my in-home stamp camps, and those will also continue in 2026. They will, for the most part, continue to be on the third Saturday of the month, noon to 3. If you get my newsletter, then you know what the cards are going to be there, the projects are going to be that we're going to make. And you also get a look ahead for at least one quarter, maybe a couple quarters, look ahead as to what those are. So what's going to change? All right, that's probably what you're saying. Get to the what's changing. So I mentioned I want to try to reduce the amount of time I spend each week at this job. So rather than doing 3 posts a week, I've been posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday on my blog, and I'm going to reduce that to 2, which is not a huge change. But the main thing I want to try to do a better job of is maximizing the use of the projects that I do make. So when I do, one of those posts will be a simple stamping card, and the other will be my old traditional avid stamper. I can't get that up because I love those. One of the posts will have a coordinating video. So the project that's posted, well, there will also be a video to go with it on how to do that. Those most likely will be associated with the avid stamper posts. The posts that have simple stamping, there will still be tutorials available, free tutorials available for everyone on my blog, or website, or whatever it is you want to call it. And but they're simple enough to just be able to make those with the written tutorials. So there won't be, for the most part, those won't have videos, but the other one will have a video. So the video will also then feature whatever the product for that week is. Okay. And my monthly stamp camps are also going to feature some of the projects that were posted during that month. My stamp camps always have a theme. The January theme is sending love. And so we'll probably have a couple Valentine's cards and maybe a wedding card. They're not made yet, so I don't know, but it's likely that at least a portion of those stamp camp cards will also be on my blog, so that I can have double duty for a project that I make. All right, so then what am I going to do to broaden my audience? I already mentioned the difference about a simple stamping card or an avid card. And that's going to be my main thing is like I said, I am not a simple stamper. And so this is also a challenge for me to try to learn how to make pretty, simple cards. So I like to learn, just like I like to share and teach you new things. I like to learn too. So my goal for my learning is to learn how to make simple cards that I feel I can be proud of. Now, sometimes you'll hear them called SIP cards, SIP, stamps, ink, and paper. My simple cards are going to include embellishments, I promise you. Adding a rhinestone, adding a bow, maybe a bow, but adding some ribbon, that's not difficult, right? We can add gems and still call them a simple card. At least a pack card will have gems or something. And then the other project, like I said, will continue to demonstrate techniques, fun folds, templates, and the video will show you how to either do the technique or make the fun folds. Some fun folds, I have a hard time describing them in written text on a tutorial. So a video can be very helpful. So that's the things that are changing, okay? The simple cards are going to be more targeted to beginners. I'm not going to show you how to ink your ink pad or your stamp and stamp it, but just some good tips and tricks for beginners. And there will be cards for people that don't have all the stuff, right? I got a load of cabinets behind me. They're all filled with stamping stuff. And a lot of people don't either want that, they certainly don't have it or can't afford to do that, and maybe they don't have the space for it. So let me try to learn how to do simple stamps and show you how to make a card where you don't need to have it all, okay? So this is my plan for the first quarter. We're going to try this out for the first quarter of 2026, and we'll see how it goes, and I will reassess come March. I'll be probably bugging you a little bit. What do you think? Do we want some changes? Do we like this format? And so on. So here's the plan. Monday, Fairless Stampin Flair website, fairlessstampinflair.com. More than likely, it will be a simple stamping card. Thursday, an Avid card with a coordinating video. They will both use the same products or stamp set or bundle, maybe a suite of products, but everything that week will be projects made with that featured product. On Saturday, I will continue to have my weekend review reels, and then Stamp Camp, like I said, will be the third Saturday most months. Sometimes I have to change it. There's usually a couple times a year, maybe 3 times a year, where I have something on the third month. But again, if you're on my newsletter distribution and you get my newsletter, you'll know when it's going to be a different week. And I usually either move it to the 2nd or to the 4th. And we've got some fun things planned for Stamp Camp. So if you're local to me here in Southeast Michigan, I'm a little northwest of Detroit area, Commerce Township. And if you're local to me, I'd love to have you join us. We do have fun. It's as much about the friendship and the people we meet as it actually is about making the projects. But anyway, subscribe to my newsletter if you want to keep more in touch with what's going on here at Fairless Stampin Flair. And until next week, when I am going to try to have a video using my new computer and my renewed StreamYard software. Happy New Year. God bless. Let's have some fun, creativity in 2026, and let's do it all with friends. So again, Happy New Year, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.